Hey, this is BJ. Thanks for listening to our show's podcast. If you're a fan of all things geeky, you should check out my other podcast, BJ Shea's Geek Nation. We have new episodes every day, and you can check it out at bjgeeknation.com.
Your home is going into foreclosure and you feel like a financial wreck. You don't know where to turn for accurate information. I'm bankruptcy attorney Travis Gagne. Let's talk about some legal options. If we work quickly, we can propose a plan to save your home, modify the loan, or in many cases even eliminate your second mortgage. The consultation is free. I've helped hundreds of people just like you make informed decisions about whether to save their home or exit it on a reasonable, organized timeline. The chapter you choose sets the tone for the next chapter of your life. Please contact me today at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com.
99.9 KISW, The Rock of Seattle. The one cool thing about being a father of a daughter is that when she gets to her teenage years, she gets all embarrassed by you being you.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Calling Sarah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, my favorite my favorite thing was to always just try to just basically embarrass Sarah, and I used to write stuff on her school papers. Because I had to check her school papers, and then she had to hand them back in. And
What would you write?
I'd write that my daughter, she's a loser. I go, my daughter's a chump. She doesn't know what's up.
To the teacher.
I would write that to the teacher.
And how did you think that would go?
You know what? I didn't think the teacher would notice. I would hope that Sarah would notice as she was like handing it in, going, oh.
So did the teacher ever notice?
I think Sarah might. Did you ever scratch it out? Did you ever do anything like that, Sarah?
Oh, hey. No, I never scratched it out. And yeah, she would notice. It was always either a loser or a chumpy.
Wait, so you would write, my daughter is a loser, and she would hand that to her teacher.
Yeah, because he had to check my homework and sign off on it and make sure I did it.
Yeah.
So he would sign off on it, but then he'd always have a little note.
Yeah.
Did you get better grades because the teacher felt bad that you were in such an awful household?
Honestly, probably, because I wasn't the brightest kid. So they were like, oh, your dad thinks you're a loser and a chumpy. Like, what?
Yeah. What kind of insult is chumpy?
Yeah.
Well, it was our little insult, she was a chump, and then she went from chump to chumpy. See, Joey didn't care about anything. I couldn't do anything to bother Joe. He was just like, I couldn't be bothered with you. Do whatever you want. I don't care. Joey, you couldn't face.
Right.
So I had to turn to Sarah and go, all right, well, Sarah, unfortunately, you know what? You're going to have to take the beating.
And I think you could call me a goose and a goosey.
Oh, yeah.
He said that, here in your 20s, you've been called that. Yeah.
But I would I put her pet names on her because as she got older, she's like, I don't want people to know that you call me the goose. Don't do that.
And Googla was another one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I would never think to leave notes for the teacher to read about your own kid. I've heard of parents wanting to embarrass their daughter or their son.
But not on the homework.
No.
Yeah. See, I thought it would be funny if the teacher goes, Sarah, why does your father call you a Googler? What is a Googler? And they have Sarah sit there and go, I hate him so much.
And what if the teacher brings it up in front of all the kids and all of a sudden she's being made fun of?
Yeah, I
really set her up for failure.
Yeah, I would hope
why you drink a lot.
Yeah.
Right, thank you.
I would hope the teacher would have a little more discretion than that. It was supposed to be between the three of us, the teacher, Sarah, and myself. Don't bring it up in front of the class.
Yeah, and then at a parent-teacher conference, she's like, so you think your daughter's a loser?
See, I thought that would be awesome. Never came up. Yeah, make those conferences a little easier. They say, hey, have a little sense of humor. Hey, teach, what's up? Hey, how you doing?
Hey, I call her a loser. You can call her a loser, too.
Yeah. Feel free to call my daughter a loser.
Yeah. That's why I love this father, because he dropped his teenage daughter and her friends off at school the other day, and he was shouting stuff out the window because he wanted to try to embarrass his daughter.
Bye, sweet girl. Have a good day at school. Bye, Kate.
Kate, can you...
Bye, Kate.
Get out.
I love you, Kate.
Stay out.
I'm Kate Downey's father. Hi, Principal Dennis. Hi, Principal Dennis. I'm Kate Downey's father, and I love her. I'm going to miss her all day.
I hate this guy. I hate him.
This guy's a man after my own heart.
Oh, he's I mean, you're worse than him.
Yeah. How am I worse than him? I didn't yell it out in front of everybody. It was just between the teacher, Sarah, and myself.
Sarah, what would you prefer?
I mean, at least this guy was saying that he loves his daughter.
He wasn't calling her a chumpy.
Yeah, wasn't insulting her on her homework.
Yeah, well, that's East Coast love for you there, okay?
I love that guy.
No, actually, it's not East Coast love, BJ. No, I grew up in the East Coast, and my parents never thought to leave insulting notes on my papers to hand over to teachers.
This was the way we did it in my house,
That's
okay?
Boston love. Where all you miserable Fs do miserable things.
All right, well, I can't argue with that.
Hey, Chumpy.
Yeah.
Hey, Googla, you suck.
She was. It's just because my son was just he couldn't be bothered. So I had I thought I'd be doing this with my son, like having that little adversarial relationship. I ended up having to have with my daughter because my son's like,
Plus, I don't think Joey did any homework anyway.
Well, there was
probably didn't turn anything in.
Right.
Yeah.
Solid point.
Yeah.
At least I tried.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Exactly. So it was that was the situation. Yeah.
Well, I want to know the backstory. I would imagine that the daughter's embarrassed by her father.
Yeah,
And so he's just trying to needle her.
If you're a high running dad, like you get a lot of energy. Like in my household, my wife is the quiet one. My wife is the chill one. And so most of the time it's the father and the mother's the one that's she's the one that gets it done and she's the high energy one. But every once in a while you'll see the household where the father is the one that's a little out of his mind and mom's cool. And so that's what I would do to Sarah because Joe, nothing bothered Joe. It didn't matter what you did. So going to Target, banging on the old Target because they got those hollow poles that make it sound just such a great sound when you bang them. So I always would make it like I bang my head.
Sounds kinky.
Oh, yeah.
He still does, always.
You still bang those poles?
I bang those poles, buddy.
Attaboy.
Bang them.
No.
I'm trying to think of my dad is the king of embarrassing me, but he never intentionally is doing it. He doesn't do things on purpose.
Oh, yeah.
It's just dad being dad that's embarrassing. He has handed out more. I don't think I've ever handed out a single one of my business cards, right? He hands them out. Like, he asked me for a bunch of them. I'm like, fine, Dad. Wherever we go, when he visited here in Seattle, he would hand out the business card to whoever. This is my son. You might want to check him out. And I'm like,
funny.
Dad, can you make this less awkward? Go to a restaurant. He'd hand over the business card to the hostess.
Yeah, don't do it when I'm here.
So, I would almost want to take the business card back and be like, no, it's okay.
But it's like a hard thing because I know he's very proud of what I do.
That's what it is, yeah. He's super proud of what you do. And in his world, the handing out business cards and networking, that's the highest form of compliment because he's vouching for you. You can't get a better compliment from a guy. He thinks he's doing you a solid, and
and he's hoping for hookups because it happened once.
Oh!
One time many years ago.
I hadn't thought about that.
If you sit in the room, my father will tell you the story within 15 minutes. This is just a story that keeps on coming up. But one time he was calling a cell phone provider that was based here, but he was in New York. My dad talks someone's ear off, eventually finds out that the guy's based in Seattle. Goes, oh, my son's in Seattle. You might have heard of him. He's on the radio.
Of course he did, yeah.
Yeah. And luckily for my dad, the guy's like, oh, yeah, I have. I'm a big fan. Let me hook you up with this certain thing with your cell phone and give him like a free something.
Nice.
So ever since then, he's just always looking for the freebie. If he knows if someone's from Seattle or if he's in Seattle, he's trying to play
He drops your name.
Don't you know who my son is? And I'm like, oh my gosh, can I go back into the car and hide?
I've known so many guys like your father where I grew up. And maybe it's just generational or it's also, where we're located. But yeah, the free hookup, hey, my buddy's this, my buddy. Do you know a guy? I know a guy. My son's a guy. You want to know a guy? My son's a guy.
Yeah, you realize who I'm here with having dinner. It's my son.
I know.
You might know who he is. And the person's like, no, I have no idea. And I'm like, thank you, Dad. That's even more awkward.
Also really awkward. I have friends who do that. Oh, the drunker they get.
Yeah.
PJ Shea's daughter's here. His daughter's here. Daughter's at the. I'm like, no, I will hide. I will leave. It's so awkward.
You're embarrassing your daughter even when you're not around.
Yeah. How about that?
The drunker they get, they just start screaming.
That's
I'm like,
the thing.
No.
His father's not drunk. That's the one thing about East Coast West, East Coast, Pacific Northwest, is they got to get drunk before they act like that. Whereas Steve's dad, everybody's like that. They don't have to get drunk. They go, hey, I don't even know who the guy is. He's my guy.
If he could get something free out of it, he's handing over my business card.
Yeah, I get it. I get that we have the position. And also, a lot of people like to treat us nicely if they realize who we are and they like the show. And I know people in our own business that take advantage of that. I hate that. I just go, can I just pay? I don't want to, let me just be here. I don't want to sit and try to get a deal from anybody because it's...
You don't want the Steve Dad discount?
Yeah. People like to help out. If somebody wants to genuinely help out, I got no problem. But there are people I know in our business that lead with their own business card wherever we go. I don't know if you know who I am. I'm like, oh, God, I don't want to be with you. We're in the same business. You're making me look bad.
I knew a dude who, whenever he got pulled over by the cops, he would hand over his ID, and under the ID would be his business card.
Oh, nice.
Like, when he told me that,
I
was like, that is next level douchiness, man.
I wish I had the balls.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want to make fun of him, but okay. Okay, only once.
Well, I mean, I don't know how many times he did it, but the one time he shared, it worked, of course, because he was sharing about how it worked.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at him like, I have no words. I can never imagine doing that.
That is very scummy, but at the same time, like, you gotta have a parking ticket, so I can't really hate on him too much.
That's the thing. When you get out of a parking ticket,
a speeding
or a
ticket.
speeding ticket,
Yeah,
excuse me.
yeah.
that'd
Any
be great
ticket.
if you got a parking ticket on I-5. You're doing it right.
Well, that's what I do. I put business cards on my windshield wiper all the
It's like,
time.
yeah.
Steve's car.
Yeah.
Don't give me a ticket.
Yeah.
Oh man, there's a certain level of balls that I
Yes.
don't have to do that.
It's just fearless.
Yeah, and I don't have that.
I would think I'd get arrested if I tried to do something like that.
Me too. I think I'd get beaten. I go, because
Get out of the car.
what if I said something that guy didn't like one time? I don't need to get beaten.
Like, oh, you're that guy.
Oh,
You're
the
talking
guy.
about single parents? I'm a single parent.
Which is why, even if I was against the cops, I'm not. I'm actually very pro-cop. But even if I was against the cops, I'd never say it on the radio. Because, you see all the movies. Hey, the good guy that goes to prison, then you know what happens when the good guy goes to prison. Oh, hey, we got you, Frank Castle. We're going to tell you what's up. No.
I don't even know what you're talking about at this point.
It's a Punisher.
It's a
thing.
Punisher.
Oh.
When the Punisher goes to prison, it ain't
Frank
good.
Castle. I thought you said Frey Castle. I was like, what is that? Some kind of
Hey, Frank
I
Castle,
thought
how
that
you
was a pen
doing?
name for Sarah. Hey, Frey Castle, come over here.
Sounds like a hipster band.
Yeah.
It does.
All right, speaking of the police, I want to know this. Why would the police get into a standoff with a Star Wars character? Because that's awesome. That's why. Steve will tell you all about it. He's got the Miggs report for you at 6:17 on The Rock.
BJ and Migs, mornings on The Rock, 99.9 KISW.
99.9 KISW, The Rock of Seattle.
Well informed on the issues of the day? Not this guy. Live from the KISW News Center in downtown Seattle, this is the Miggs Report.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you, Kia Puyallup, for giving us news and sports. It's a very special day for all of us Americans.
Merkel.
Happy National Cherry Pie Day. Hit it, Rev.
Not sure. I think they're thinking of a different kind of cherry pie in the holiday.
You mean they're not talking about the delicious treat?
I mean, arguably, it's whatever you're thinking of, it's a delicious treat.
Yes. Well, someone even on. I love reading comments on bad 80s metal songs because sometimes people just have no filters. No cherry pies were harmed during the filming of this music video.
That's funny.
Something tells me that this is not about cherry pie, right in line with
Oh, you think? Oh, yeah.
And then you got to give it up. What's her name? Bobby Brown? One person even says, I think that's the sexiest and most beautiful girl I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, yeah.
her?
That's not the
Bobby with an I, not Bobby the singer.
Oh, okay. Oh, there she is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I remember her. Yeah, I do.
And that's the song that basically sent the lead singer down a downward spiral because he was trying to be taken serious, and the record label was like, we need a hit, and he wrote this as a joke. And it became a giant hit.
That's funny.
And then he had to spend the rest of his life singing that song to the point where it just he's no longer with us because I think he had to battle some alcohol.
Oh, that's really hard.
Oh, gosh, yeah. The behind the music on The Warrant is one of the most depressing ones you'll ever see.
It's too bad he couldn't embrace that. You know what, man? You get to do what you want to do in life if you can come up with something that's mass appeal. Then you get to do your artistic stuff.
Sure, but when you're 40 and you're singing, she's my cherry pie, it probably gets to the point where you're like, what the hell has my life become?
Yeah, if I can still get paid, though, Steve.
I know.
You know what I mean? It's just
day in, day out. That's all people want to hear is cherry
Yeah.
pie. Some people probably prefer if they just start their set and end their set with the song.
Yeah, well, that goes to show you that nobody really cared about anything you did but that one song. That makes you wonder, like, you sure you knew what you were doing?
Somebody says that Bobby Brown was from Seattle. I met her at a nightclub once.
Really? Ooh. How many years ago we talk? Is that 20 years ago, Cherry
That
Pie?
cherry pie song? Oh,
Yeah.
my God.
It's like 30, I think,
30
right?
years
Is it
ago?
30?
Oh, yeah, we're
fun
talking
fact.
80s.
It was the 80s, man.
Yeah, you're right.
It's got 39 million views on that video.
See, that's
39 million.
It was released in 1990, so next year it'll be 30 years.
Wow.
They were the opening band to Poison when I saw Poison with Warren.
Oh, what a bill.
And it was.
Yeah, what a bill.
Teenage Steve really enjoyed being
Oh,
at that
yeah,
show.
dude. I mean, you're talking those two bands. That's an era of music that, I mean, they typified that.
And I was very innocent and naive because I did not understand the imagery.
you didn't know?
During the set, the guitarist puts his face in his guitar amp and spits out a bunch of cherries. And I was like, that's awesome.
What? That is really awesome.
Let's talk about this guy who decided to get into, a cop got into a standoff with a life-size stormtrooper statue of all things.
What?
The patrol, they had to pull over a Ford Mustang in California because they were speeding. Driver sped off, but he pulled over to the side street, and him and the passenger ran away on foot. But the cops noticed someone in the back seat. So they spent a good chunk of time with their guns drawn, yelling at this guy to get out of the back seat. Finally, they realized this guy's not getting out of the back seat because it's just a life-size statue of a Star Wars stormtrooper.
Oh, man, dude. Wow. I mean, and I wonder if they thought he had body armor on and he was ready to be a problem. I mean, you don't know. Yeah.
This guy's epic. He's got this whole white suit of armor going on.
Yeah. They should have been afraid of him, though.
First, though.
Yeah, well, there's that, yeah. And plus, plus the stormtrooper wouldn't have hit the cops anyway because that's the other thing. Don't worry about that. You're safe, cops. It's a stormtrooper.
World's worst aim.
Yeah.
This guy in a little bit of trouble because he used his car to break into a store and steal some products from the store.
Oh, really?
Here's the thing. It was it was a Hustler Hollywood store, very similar.
Oh, yeah.
And he stole $300 worth of merchandise, including sex toys and lingerie.
And how did he break in?
By using his car. He broke in by driving his car into the store. And apparently the surveillance footage shows him going into an exact spot where he wanted to get these toys. So they believe that he's already been there, knew exactly where the stuff was that he wanted, busted it with the car, and then took off with the stuff.
It does sort of make you feel like this guy's sex life is like, dude, slow down. Don't just bust in. Slow and steady wins the race.
I kind of want to know where he ended up that night. He had to show up somewhere and be like, Lobby, I've got the stuff. Let's go.
I'd like to plow you like I plowed that store.
Oh, man. One crook got in trouble. And we talked about this the other day where a guy decided to use an Uber to drop him off at a place to rob a bank, and then another Uber to pick him up. And you're like,
that genius.
Those people, if you're going to commit a crime, you probably don't want to use any of these rideshare programs.
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
Well, I have another story now. This guy's in New Jersey. He's 28 years old. He decided, I'm going to get into this unmarked. He thought it was an unmarked cop car, but originally he thought it was a Lyft. It turned out it was an unmarked cop car. Oh. So he called for a Lyft after he committed a crime.
Wow.
He sees the car. He's like, oh, that's the car. Gets in it. It's the unmarked cop car and got arrested immediately for that.
Womp womp. God, sometimes you just go, dude, you're too stupid to be around people.
Right. Should we talk about Tim Eyman? Have you heard about Tim Eyman?
Yeah, this story is bizarre and almost it's bizarre and it's stupid and it's actually kind of funny.
I don't know what the hell's going on. Is he telling the truth or not? It seems like the most ridiculous excuse for stealing a chair, but he was caught on surveillance footage leaving an Office Depot where he just swiped a $70 office chair as he was leaving. They catch him on footage, and he's like, oh, no. It was an honest mistake. I thought I already bought the chair. I was distracted by a phone call. I was in the process of paying, and as I left the store, I thought it was all paid for. I watched the surveillance footage. It just seems like he just took the chair.
Yeah, it's just hard for me to believe that Tim Eyman, as we all know who he is in the area, would go, here's an idea, I'm just going to steal a chair. You know what I mean? I feel like I have to give him the benefit of the doubt. I realize his credibility is a bit of an issue for a lot of people around here, but still, I can't believe he's just going to be like, oh, here's my new thing. I'm going to steal chairs.
What an odd... And I love that he's wearing a bright red shirt while he's doing this. Says, let the voter decide.
There you go.
He should wear that when he goes to court.
Did he call a Lyft or an Uber? That way, then we'd know what his intentions were.
Somebody texted us, did you hear about the Seahawks former safety that was shot to death over a parking spot?
Yeah,
that was a messed up story.
That's really, really sad news.
TJ Cunningham played with the team, I think, for not even a full season back in 1996, but he was in Colorado, got into an argument over a parking spot. Guy pulled out a gun and shot him. 46 years old.
What
is going on with people, man?
Dude, this is the problem where road rage you just don't know what that other person's going to be doing.
Right.
You just got to de-escalate, man.
You just got to laugh it off. Like whenever someone's freaking out over the dumbest stuff, it's not worth my time.
Yeah, especially
what an awful story.
It's a horrible story.
I don't know. I know you follow baseball, BJ.
I do, as a matter of fact.
Apparently, the San Diego Padres had a few extra dollars to spend because they just dropped, it's about to be announced, with Manny Machado.
Yeah.
$300 million for a 10-year deal. That's $30 million a year if I'm good at math.
Second largest deal in Major League history.
Right, was it Giancarlo Stanton's got the highest amount. And who knows what's going to happen during this offseason because there's a few big-name players still.
Well, there's been a whole idea of whether or not is there collusion or not because this is very late in the season. We got spring training games about to start up, and the fact that some big names didn't get signed and Manny just got signed now.
Yeah.
They're saying, what the hell's going on, baseball? But I think that's a lot of money, and I don't think he's worth it.
Wow. $300 million.
He's not. I don't think he's worth it.
Yeah. 26 years old, though. You got 10 years with him now.
Yeah. Well, I'm
prime of his career.
Well, Steve Garvey, who I was
still the greatest Padre of all time. Thank you.
Yes, of course. And he's working for the Dodgers. And so when I was in California watching the Red Sox-Dodgers World Series, I got to see some of his commentary. And, of course, Manny was on the Dodgers, for the second part of last season. Yep. Steve Garvey's like, yeah, I watched him play. Because they asked him, hey, do you want him to come back as a free agent? And he's like, yeah, I watched him play. He's not a Dodger. I mean, that's all he said, but it was kind of basically saying Manny's known for not being the greatest teammate, not having the greatest work ethic. He's just not the kind of player that you want to pay millions of dollars to, if you ask me.
Gotcha. And then what do we got? What's the other guy? Bryce Harper. I believe is going to be the guy who's going to get the most amount of money.
And that guy did nothing last season. He had a really bad year last year. So I don't understand why people think these guys should get the money they're getting. I don't get it.
Somebody brought up an update about the T.J. Cunningham story. It says the murderer and him had a long-running feud. They met at a parking lot to settle their differences, so it wasn't necessarily a road rage story. Just two idiots acting like children.
Well, I hate to say that makes me feel better, but it makes me feel better that it wasn't a random act of violence. That it was premeditated, at least that way, because you hate to hear about the random acts of violence. Like, really, people? But if they had a history, that makes more sense.
According to our boy, Red the Chicken Man, he's also Rucky, the mascot. Seattle Seawolves, big comeback this weekend against Toronto. Rallied from 13 down in the second half. So congrats, Seawolves. I was rocking their shirt this weekend.
Your championship team, Seawolves,
straight
defending that trophy.
As far as weather, 42 degrees. And thank you, Car Toys, for giving us news and the Migs Report.
Yeah. Did they get trophies? I have no idea.
They got rings. Didn't you see?
Well, I know you get rings, but I don't know if there's a trophy, too, for, like, the champion, like every other league.
Imagine.
Yeah.
Everyone gets a trophy.
That's what I hope. Everyone. I mean, I don't know if everyone gets a trophy, but the winning team should get a trophy.
Every championship team seems to have a trophy.
Wouldn't it be great if, parents of the 90s actually were in charge of handing out trophies? Like at the Super Bowl, you'd see everybody, every team that didn't make it, Cleveland Browns players coming up and getting trophies. That's how it would be if it was parents of the 90s handling these things. So there you go. Manny Machado, millions of dollars for a team that probably won't even make the playoffs. It's just nuts.
At least it wasn't the Mariners dropping that kind of coin.
Yeah, I agree. You can't. It's an interesting thing. I've said it before about baseball. Like with football, you've got a salary cap, so you really, everybody has the same amount of money to work with for the most part.
Yep.
But in baseball, the real rich teams, it's not that they can afford the best players. I say in baseball, it's the teams that can afford making a mistake. Because if the Mariners spent that kind of money on a guy and he turned out to stink, that would wreck them financially. Like, they couldn't come back from that. It was like, hey, you know what? We'd like to do something next year, but we still have this idiot on the books. Teams like the Red Sox, they can afford to make those kind of mistakes because they won the World Series last year, and they still were paying Pablo Sandoval. And he never did a thing for them, and they were paying him big money. What's that?
Wasn't he a drug lord in Entourage?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was. But that's the thing about, baseball, which is unfair, is that you can make a big mistake financially and still win a World Series.
Yeah.
The Mariners, they're just not there. The Mariners, Padres, I don't think they're in that league to be able to do that. So that's a big
chance.
That's a big chance. And if Manny stinks, I mean, they're going to be done for a long time.
When it says Tony Gwynn's the best Padre of all time, Steve, I'd say he's third best. Yeah, Steve Garvey.
Everybody knows your joke.
Kurt Bavacqua.
Yeah, who?
Wow. And then Tony Gwynn.
Yeah, okay.
Isn't that like one of those Evian water thingies right there?
He was a clutch player in the 1984 championship series that the Padres going to the World Series.
Oh, all right.
Only to lose to the Tigers.
Yeah, there you go.
Cool. Not that I am still bitter about that.
Yeah, not at all. And again, I think that, Tony, look, Steve Garvey was a great Dodger. He was a decent Padre.
He's Mr. Consistency.
But he's not Tony Gwynn. Tony Gwynn is probably,
the best Padre.
Yeah, he's one of the best players maybe of all time, really, Tony Gwynn, if you look at him. And definitely the best Padre. He's got to be. Come on. I'll give you maybe number two for. But then there's Trevor Hoffman, who was a damn good closer. I think Steve Garvey might be going down the list, buddy.
I don't know. I don't know if I can have this conversation.
I know. Oh, I just want people to know you're joking because you don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know I need to preface.
Well, as a guy,
stupid thing I say.
Freddie the Padre fan's not happy with you.
Well, I think he gets it.
Do you think he gets it?
Yes.
All right, maybe I don't get it. Yesterday, Steve, he didn't get it. No, he didn't.
What birds were traditionally used as gas detectors in coal mines?
Pigeons.
No.
Parrots.
No.
Chickens.
No.
See that, Steve? It was a canary, because canaries would run out of air before humans. So if a canary died in the coal mine, you go, oh, okay, we're running out of air. That's why the Canaries were there.
Well, thanks for canary explaining it to me, BJ.
No problem, buddy.
Appreciate you.
Help you out, pal. You want a shot at beating Steve? You want a Canary explain him? You can. 206-421-ROCK. We're playing Beat Migs at 647 on The Rock.
Today's podcast was brought to you by Travis Gagne, bankruptcy attorney. Here's another question from a listener. If I can't afford to pay my bills, how am I going to afford attorneys and bankruptcy fees?
You know, one of the things people ask me all the time as a bankruptcy lawyer is that how am I going to pay all these fees and costs because I'm here because I can't afford to pay my bills? And of course, we understand that. I mean, being in the bankruptcy field. But you know, one of the things to remember is that if you decide, once you make the decision to file bankruptcy, you can stop paying on all of the creditors that are going to be included in the bankruptcy, and those are the funds that you can use that you have been paying your creditors to pay your attorney fees and court costs to get your case filed. And once your case is filed, you're not going to have most of those payments anymore.
Thanks, Travis. If you have more questions about bankruptcy, you can reach out to Travis anytime at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com. Thanks for listening.